Great to have you here, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Not at all.
Saw your film last night. Looks absolutely marvellous. A real triumph. I mean,
thanks very much.
for your first film, it's a staggering achievement.
Well, thank you.
What was it like? I mean, that must have been the first time you worked with a crew that large. Was it 30?
There were several people. The crew kind of came and went because it was we made it for a very low budget, micro budget. So people were coming in and out of the crew to go and do paid jobs because this was for deferred fees. So we did have some sort of crew coming and going. So there's a long list of people at the end. They weren't all there at the same time. But I'd been, as an actor, I've sort of been around crews, film sets. So it's sort of I kind of knew my way around it. But we just lucked out, really. We had a fantastic crew. We were very lucky with our director of photography, Simon Archer, who we never thought we'd get, and then suddenly he had a job fall through and had read the script a long time before and really liked it, but couldn't do it for the terms we were offering. And then had this job fell through and was available, and we just got everything together then. So kind of as a result of that, really, we got a lot of crew who, were wanting to work with Simon, and so we were really punching above our weight, really, with focus pullers and all the crew.
I mean, I noticed you had 5 editors as well.
Yes.
Is that, were they all working?
No, they were all, post-production took a long time, and the cut took a long time. And that's just the nature of the way we had to make the film. We couldn't secure an editor for long enough to get stuff done. And then
did you work closely with the editors?
Yes, yeah. So we
sitting alongside?
Yes, always alongside. Yeah. I don't think you can do it otherwise, really.
No.
I mean, there is an argument to have a scene cut while you're not there, and then you come in and see it, so that somebody's got a sort of, leeway without you sitting there kind of clenching. But no, yeah, we worked with. But we were very lucky at the end. Twickenham Film Studios kind of took us under their wing, really, and we did our final cut there with one of their editors in their cutting rooms at Twickenham Studios, and did the audio and the grade there in the end as well. So that was great.
The grade is very interesting. It seemed to me almost to be so naturalistic. It looked straight out of camera.
Yeah.
I mean, no kind of heavy grade effects.
No.
Kind of mood-inducing grades.
No.
Well,
deliberately not. I wanted the look of the film to be. I wanted us to immediately know where we were and feel an immediate connection to that without any kind of slanting to it. It's funny you should say that because, there's a terrific kind of.
It's almost a cult of grade.
Yeah, well, there is, and you sometimes want to do stuff that you see in the grade because it looks so fantastic, and we started to do that. And there's a big thing now where there's that phrase "crunching the blacks," which means you get this very solid black, and it looks terrific, and it sort of jumps out off the screen. And we did that for a bit, and I watched it at home. And I thought, oh no, that's wrong, because it's implying it's giving the story a twist that I didn't want it to have. I wanted it to have that very naturalistic look. So we ended up taking it all off. But it's weird to say, because there's a lot of grading going into it, but it's very subtle.
Yeah.
And I think the grader at Twickenham did a great job on it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't interfere at all.
No.
You're not kind of conscious of it. It looks so naturalistic and easy on the eye.
Yeah.
So that was quite amazing, and I loved the way you varied the kind of emotional approach to the film.
Right.
Where the pain of Mickey,
yes,
in some parts, is so difficult to watch.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Yeah.
And you counterbalance that with great humour, Paul
Yeah.
being, you know, always ready with a gag.
Yes, yes.
Was that difficult to pull off?
No, and I set out to do that because I think two things. I wanted a sort of through line for the film that had that sense of real reality rather than film reality.
Yeah.
By which I mean people do have jokes with each other at the same time as life gets very grim, which I think is more a reflection of what actually happens. And the other thing is that to make a powerful point, it's great to have sort of softened your audience up first,
Yeah.
so that they're not ready, they're not expecting the punch. I think you get the punch in harder.
You certainly do. And I suppose one of the most successful aspects of that is going through customs.
Yes, yeah.
You know, where Mickey bottles it
Yeah.
at the last minute and then, you know, comes back on board.
Yes.
I thought that you handled that incredibly adeptly.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and two great performances through
great
that as well through
Yeah.
through that. And I think Martin Herdman, who plays Mickey, is just terrific. You know, we'd worked together in the theatre,
Have you?
and I saw a short that he did called Write, R-I-T-E, and thought he was, you know, fantastic in that. And it was him that I always had in mind when I was writing the film.
Yeah, I mean, those close-up scenes of him letting vent.
Yeah.
They must have been quite hard to do. Did you have to do many retakes?
Well, we did because I knew I wanted to cut quite sharply there and get a lot of, you know, multiple cuts in. So Martin did have to do it quite a lot, and we did it from various angles. But he was always, you know, completely sort of gave it everything, you know, on every take that we did. Yeah.
And interestingly, you don't actually reveal. Well, that tickled me. The things you could have sensationalised,
Right.
like the shooting.
Yeah.
You move to him shot in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Instead of you know, some kind of nasty
Yes.
macabre
Yes.
scene, which would have been
Yes.
quite easy to
Yes.
celebrate almost.
Yes.
And what was the other marvellous thing? Well, the shooting in the shoulder. Forgotten the other one.
Okay.
Let's move on.
All right. Well, on that point, actually, just because I did shoot through the camera him being shot.
Oh, you did.
And then in the edit, I realised we didn't need to see that, and
Right.
it was much more effective without that.
Oh yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. The other thing that you intimated but
Yeah.
weren't obvious about was what were they smuggling?
Right. Yeah.
That was concealed.
Yes.
Very clever.
Right.
Like that.
Well, again,
What was the thinking behind that particular scene?
Well, I don't like giving everything because I think it sets up an audience having to think for themselves, which is what we did with the ending. Actually, I like the deliberately ambiguous end. Really, we don't give you an answer. You sort of have to make that decision for yourself, having seen the film. And I think, you know, it's clear it's drugs, I guess, but it could have been something else. But I think it works better not being specific, you know.
Yeah. I agree. And I was pleased that you didn't, in their moment of celebration, of getting through the customs and driving back up the motorway, I was pleased you didn't put them into a car crash or something.
Or have the police suddenly call. No, I really wanted not to give that get out. I didn't want, because it sort of closes the story down, you know, and whereas I wanted the.
Have you had any offers? I mean, it's such a you know, there's such a marvellous team,
Mm.
and I'm sure this is going to go down extremely well. Have you had any offers to do a sequel?
No. I mean, we're at a strange point because it's a micro-budget film and it's an unknown cast, and I'm first-time director. So trying to get noticed in the kind of formal industry is really difficult. So what we're having to be a bit more sort of proactive about how we get the film out there. You know, so we're organising screenings. We've got a release coming up in the spring, in May, in our own kind of done through our own channels. So it's difficult to get the industry to sort of come on board with something like that. And I understand why. It's a completely it's a business, and it would have to be a completely financial decision. And films are sold on their leading actors essentially. So we have to be a bit kind of sharper. Yeah.
So are you schlepping about all over the place?
Yeah, we are.
At the moment?
Yes, and it's
answering these sort of questions.
Answering these questions, but it's great because it's strange having done more theatre than film. In a theatre, the people are there with you, so you get an immediate response. If something hasn't worked, you know it immediately, and vice versa. With a film, you're rarely there. In the normal way, you're rarely there with an audience. But this way, I get to be in an audience when they're watching it, and then we have a question and answer afterwards, and that's just been fantastic because it's just sort of established how audiences are really getting it, really getting the thing, and that's wonderful to sort of get that immediate feedback from, so it's great. So yes, we're planning a lot of sort of pre-release screenings. Particularly where we feel people are interested in the arguments or the themes that the film throws up. So we've been doing quite a lot of Labour Party screenings and student unions and hopefully some union ones. And then we're opening the film as part of the Deptford Free Film Festival in May, and we've got a 4-week run at Deptford Cinema as our sort of launch. And then we've got various cinemas booked after that. So we're getting a sort of tour up beyond that. And that's when the film will be available on video on demand and DVD.
Is it going on to Amazon or Netflix?
We don't know yet. We're not sure yet. That's one of the things that we've got to got to sort out.
Yeah. So how do you feel in the dirty world of business?
Well, it's not a surprise that it's difficult. I mean, we always knew it was difficult. I mean, in the way that we couldn't have funded it through the normal channels, and we knew that. But
I read on your website it only cost you 34 grand.
35, yeah.
35.
I mean, I have to come in immediately with a caveat there, which is to say that was with everybody on the film working for deferrals,
right?
Which means they get their fee paid once the film has paid its money back.
Were there certain people you had to pay?
No, everybody. That was sort of the deal that we had, that I had with everybody, that we all worked for expenses only, and that it would all be for deferred fees. So, and we got a lot of extra. I mean, we got great help with the camera and lenses, and and it was really, what was lovely was that after the first, I knew I had crew for the first 5 days to shoot. And I just thought, well, we're going to have to go anyway, and in 3 days' time I'll have to start getting crew in. And what happened was that as those people were pulling out to go off and do paid work, they were then getting their own replacements. So they were ringing around and saying, would you come and do this film? Which was just so, I mean, it's very moving, that people were so sort of committed to the project, it was lovely, and it was, so it was a terrific, a really moving thing to be a part of, and the shoot went very well. Post-production took an awful lot longer than we thought, because...
How long did the actual shoot take?
Well, we shot 25 shooting days.
25?
Yeah. and a couple of those had to be half days because we lost a couple of people, so we had to fit around stuff. But yeah, 25 shooting days, and then the post-production took a long time. Yeah. But I've always said that that idea of people working for deferrals means that all those people are in effect investors in the film.
Yeah.
So that's how in fact the same contract, it was the same contract for investors as it was for everybody working on the film, because I think everybody in effect is investing in that film. So everybody has access to the profit share scheme, whatever happens to the film, and however ongoing that is, everybody has a stake in that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay. Well, we'll cut it here, and at the end of the film, I'm sure there are going to be some questions and answers.
Yes.
So we'll try and wheel out some people to fire some more questions.
Okay. Great.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Thanks
Thank you
much.
very much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.